Characters are Sunny's patient caregiver, a German doctor, a Turkish police, etc. Year 2002. Faraway city-state, faraway town, northeast neighbor of the state of Ohio, near the penthouse of Faraway Hospital. Sunny's caregiver Gary was going to Sunny's room in the penthouse after delivering her food to her while she was lying in bed. Gary, the caregiver, is 6 feet tall, 27 years old, slightly overweight, wearing a caregiver's outfit, with a slightly fat face, black eyes, bald. His voice is a bit thick. On his way out he meets Dr. Adolf by the window with a white asphalt floor and ceiling. Dr. Adolf is 1.85 meters tall, 25 years old, of normal weight, wearing a doctor's coat, black pants, glasses, with a normal face, blue eyes and blonde hair. His voice is normal. The two have been good friends since Gary arrived at the hospital 2 weeks ago. Adolf: hello Gary. Gary: hello Adolf. Adolf: what is the condition of the last patient you took care of? Gary: he is still lying down. Ahmet receives a message on his phone. Ahmet picks up the phone to check the message and looks at it. Then he puts the phone in his pocket and thinks. Adolf: Gary, what do you think? Ahmet: there is information about this patient you are looking after and the other boy who came with him. Gary: what is the situation? Adolf: apparently in a room the blonde one tried to put a pair of scissors into him and the one you were looking at tried to stop him. After the fight they fainted. These two were also found looking at the place where your sister hanged herself 4 years ago. Again, the one you were looking at was a hikikomori or something, and the other one lived a very stressful life. Judging from the other statements, they both have mental problems. Gary: Adolf: it makes sense to you to put them in a safer place and watch them more so that they don't hurt themselves, doesn't it? Gary: yes. Adolf: I'll tell the others about it. Then he starts to leave. As Adolf is leaving, he turns to ask what's on his mind. By the way, where was the patient you were looking after? Gary: well, in the one room in the attic, the only one that was open because it had been arranged. Adolf: thanks. Gary: asterisk. I wonder why only that room is hall dash asterisk. Suddenly they see Sunny falling from the building through the window. Gary suddenly panics with worry while Ahmet stands very solemnly and remains calm. Gary, worried: oh my god. He suddenly starts descending the stairs. Adolf, thinking, asterisk, does he really think he can catch him coming down the stairs from the 100th floor? Then Ahmet goes down in the elevator. Basil was awake. He looked around. He sat up a little in bed and sat up straight. He remembered what had happened last night. Last night he had fought with Sunny when she tried to stab him with scissors. She found flowers on the table next to her. They were from her babysitter Polly and her friends. She looked to see if maybe something had come from her parents, but she couldn't find anything. They probably didn't even know about it. He decided to look outside for a while. It looked like the building was quite tall. Suddenly he saw Sunny falling down. He immediately got up, worried, and went to the window. He looked out the window. Sunny was still falling. Basil, Sunny. He suddenly regretted having brought her here with him. Whatever drove Sunny to jump, he had a hand in making it happen because of that fight that had brought him and her here. 4 years ago he had covered up Mari's death and now he had a hand in Sunny's death. Tears started to flow from his eyes as he thought that he was not only a bad friend but also a terrible person. Gary had chosen the stairs because he thought he could get down faster out of worry. He thought he could catch him if he got there quickly, which was illogical, but he couldn't think of it out of worry and panic. He was on the 50th floor in half a minute. He was still descending. He had to save Sunny. He got into this job because he wanted to help people but he wasn't very skilled. He couldn't lose a patient so early in his job. Just as he reaches the ground floor, he hears a falling sound. Sonny had fallen. Gary arrives at the hospital entrance with pessimism on his face and in his eyes, because what he does next is useless. Everyone there was looking at Sonny's dead body. After the fall, all that was left of Sonny was a half-gone head, a body with many crushed legs, arms and body parts, and blood. 5 days later, Gary and Adolf attended Sonny's funeral in funeral clothes. Gary attended so he could at least see his patient off. Adolf came with him because he didn't want to leave his friend alone. Apart from themselves, Sonny's family, friends, those hooligans, recce cultists etc. attended the funeral. Sonny's best friends were sitting with his mother and they were really depressed. There was a shadow in the back that nobody noticed. They were walking outside after the funeral was over. Adolf, did you really have to go to the funeral of this patient you took care of for a day? Gary, I thought I should at least do something to send him off to the next life. They continue to walk around in silence. Adolf, you care a lot about the patients. Why do you care so much about the patients? Gary, I care about them because they are human beings. Just like us. And I got into this business to help people. And yes, I care about every human being. Adolf. Well, that's a good way of thinking. They keep walking. 2 days later, Aubrey was going to church. He had become more depressed and withdrawn after Sonny's death. But there was still church and he could go there. When he arrived at the church, there was a priest standing outside the door. The priest was 5 feet 9 inches tall, 80 years old, with a thin body, wearing priest's clothes, with a thin face, white hair, and black eyes. He was very serious and cared a lot about religious things. They come face to face with the priest. Aubrey, hello. Pastor, in a serious manner, hello. Aubrey tries to enter but cannot. Aubrey, is something going on in there? Pastor, no, there isn't. Aubrey, then why can't I get in? The pastor brings his face closer to Aubrey's. Pastor, seriously and sternly, because you can't come here anymore. Aubrey becomes agitated and confused. Aubrey, how can I not come in? Pastor, someone saw you pushing a blonde boy into a lake. Aubrey, nervously, well, it was just a joke. Pastor, the witness says it wasn't much of a joke. They stare at each other for a while. Aubrey, okay. I did it. But I totally regret that incident. Pastor, there is no use in regretting. If criminals like you keep on coming, the name of this church will be disgraced. Aubrey, but Pastor go. Aubrey leaves the church. He couldn't go to church anymore. Maybe he could hang out with the hooligans. The priest returns to the church. There, in the darkness, a man was reading the Bible. Pastor, thanks for warning me. You are welcome. Aubrey had returned to the hooligans' place. The place was one room, 50 meters square. It had a bed, table, chairs, furniture, etc. Maybe he could talk to them. He came to the place but no one was there. At that moment he decided to wait for them. Maybe they would come. He waited for 2 hours. They still hadn't come. Then he decided to go for a walk outside. He found a newspaper in a Turkish-style grocery store. The newspaper said, "Hooligans jailed. The hooligans, one of the groups causing trouble in the town of Faraway, were each raided in their own homes last night following an anonymous tip-off. A search is now planned for the remaining person." He was looking at the newspaper in astonishment. At that moment he sat on the floor with his knees. His group of friends of 3 years had gone to jail and he didn't think he would ever see them again because if he tried that he might go to jail himself. At that moment tears started to flow from his eyes. Kel blamed himself for taking Sonny out and causing the trouble. Hiro regretted that his girlfriend could not save him and his brother. Basil regretted that he had partly caused the events. Aubrey had lost almost all her friends and the rest were depressed. All of Sunny's group of friends now suffered from depression. 1 week later, the head doctor and Gary were sitting at a table in a room near the mental illness ward at Faraway Hospital. The head doctor is 5 feet 7 inches tall, dressed as a physician, normal face, beard, toned voice, black eyes, and hair. Gary regretted not being able to save a patient at the beginning of his working life, not being able to catch up with last week's incident. Head doctor, okay, you already witnessed the incident a week ago. Gary, absent-mindedly, yes. Head doctor, this was a bit out of your control so we won't interfere with your work, don't worry. He hands a paper and document in front of him. The paper and the document were about the child he took care of 2 weeks ago. Your task now is to look at the blonde who came with this boy. You probably know that she is a friend of the boy you were looking for 2 weeks ago. Gary confirms. After the incident she kept trying to hurt or even kill herself. We finally caught him in the woods with a pair of scissors in his hand. And she also confessed in a suicide note that in the incident 4 years ago, the older girl didn't hang herself, that she and the boy accidentally pushed her down the stairs during a fight on the stairs and that they made it look like suicide so that she wouldn't be punished. I thought I'd give you this in advance. We also found some black spots on her body for some reason. We don't know what it is, but it could be a disease or something. So look after him carefully, okay? Gary thought about it. At least he could keep an eye on this patient and prevent a similar fate to the previous patient. Even though they had committed a crime, they were still human beings. That's why he still cared about them. He had gotten into this because he wanted to help people but he wasn't very skilled and he had already lost a patient. He knew it was out of his control, but he still couldn't let another person die. So he had to be more careful. Last time he had lost a patient. This time he would not. After the thought, he becomes determined. Gary, decisive, okay. 1 day later in the evening, Gary was on his first day looking after Basil, who had been brought into the room. He brings him a meal. Gary brings food to Basil, who is dressed in a crazy suit so he doesn't hurt himself. Basil was just sitting there, very depressed. He had black spots on him. It looked bigger from the outside, as if the reality of the room had been distorted. But it wasn't just the two of them in the room. There was also something with eyes and a mouth surrounding Basil and the room. Gary is a little worried and Basil looks at him. Basil, do you see it too? Gary, yes. Gary leaves the room worried after putting the food down. Gary thinks about this thing. Where did this thing come from? Was it here before? After Gary leaves the room, he meets Omocat in the hallway on his way out. Adolf, what happened? You look so worried. Gary, well. I know this is going to sound strange, but there's something around this patient I'm looking at. Omocat, it's not his own shadow. Gary, it had eyes and a mouth. And it took up the whole room. Adolf. You probably saw it wrong, but I'll take a look anyway. They enter the room and Adolf sees the thing. Adolf is a little scared. Worried and frightened, I will inform the head doctor. He goes to the head doctor. In the evening, the head doctor looks at the thing. There is no change in his appearance. Adolf, it seems you have seen this. Head doctor, yes. We saw something like this on the cameras last week. But we decided not to report it quickly, but to investigate. Basil stands there watching them, confused. Adolf, how did you investigate it? Basil, when the friends of the boy who died last week saw the body on the camera, something like this happened to each of them behind them. So we spied on them and the patient here. Basil, you spied on us? Head doctor, who do you think brought you to the hospital? Gary, I'm curious about something. How did you spy on them? Head doctor, we hired a hacker and hacked the cameras and watched. Gary, you can afford a hacker. Don't you have enough money to fix the hole in the roof? And isn't what you did against the law? The chief physician walks towards him. Head doctor, the roof was gone at that moment. As for the hackers, leans in Gary's face. It's none of your business. Gary gets a little nervous. Adolf, let's stop arguing and get this thing done. Suddenly other officers bring in Sunny's mother with her arms tied. There were shadows flying over and black stains on her mouth. Attendants, sir, the mother of the boy who threw himself apparently couldn't take so much and tried to throw herself. She also had this thing on her for a while. Head doctor, okay, you take him to a room. The attendants take him. Adolf, it seems that the death of this child has started to affect other people like a domino effect. And these things. We really need to figure this out or else more and more people could be infected by this thing. Gary, so we already know we've seen it. I'll call the police. Adolf, I'll investigate this thing. In the evening, a revolutionary was taking the hooligans to their place. The revolutionaries were a team planning some kind of revolution in the faraway city-state. A group of revolutionaries let the hooligans out of prison for helping them in a prison raid to rescue their friends. The revolutionary brings the hooligans to their headquarters. Revolutionary, see you. He leaves in the car. The hooligans enter the place. There was a paper in the center of the table and black drops around the table. The hooligans look at the paper. The paper said that Aubrey had a job at the hospital. At that time, a policeman named Mehmet comes to see the thing. He is 1.80 meters tall, 29 years old, blue police uniform, gray pants, police cap, serious face, black eyes, black hair, and a little beard. Mehmet, Gary, well. Are you going to call a team? Mehmet, well, the team can't come because they are dealing with the Russians right now. Gary, the Russians. Mehmet, already people like the hooligans, the recycling cult were causing trouble. This time the Russians came here and started causing more trouble. Gary, why would the Russians come to our city? Mehmet, well, according to our research, they came here when they were kicked out of their own city. Gary, I'm curious, which city is this? Mehmet, Moscow. Gary, so they came here from Russia just to cause trouble? Mehmet, besides causing trouble, they are also involved in human trafficking. Yes, there's even mafia among them. Gary, so why our city? Mehmet, well, probably because it's quiet. Gary, but there are other quiet places. Why our Mehmet, I have to go to the restroom. Leans in Gary's ear, come to the restroom upstairs. He goes. They enter the white restroom with toilet cubicles and a faucet. Here they write with the notebook and pen Mehmet brought with him, where he jots down evidence etc. Writing order, Mehmet, according to my observations, there are no cameras here. But just in case there might be a hidden camera, so let's correspond. Gary, shouldn't there be a camera here? Gary, I don't know why not. Mehmet, anyway. I'm telling you why these Russians chose this place. They give bribes. Yes, the police department and the city-state officials here are very fond of bribes. They hide it from you. Actually, bribery and the law are equal here. As for this Mari thing, you probably found out the truth last week. But why didn't you know it for 4 years? Because the parents of the children already knew about it and bribed the officials of the city-state so that their children would not go to the juvenile detention center. Yes, they did. They even bribed 2 people. I can't say it outright, or they might find out and fire me. And that would be a big blow to my family. I wanted to explain this to you because I don't want to keep this any longer. Someone has to know the truth. If you still don't believe me, I can send you proof. End of correspondence. Adolf, holding a book, and the head doctor, empty-handed, open the restroom door and are confronted by the duo. Adolf, what are you doing here? Gary, what are you doing here? Head doctor, well, I was talking to Adolf and I had to use the restroom. That's why I came in here. His eye falls on the paper. Were you writing something? Mehmet, hiding the paper, no. Head doctor, if you are criticizing the government, don't worry, angry, I don't like this government either. Mehmet, how can you? Head doctor, you trembled a little when you spoke. And there was also some uneasiness in your eyes. I can tell if a person is lying or not. Mehmet. Chief physician. Do you want to know? Adolf and the chief physician agree. They take the paper and read it. Adolf. Now a lot of things make more sense. Anyway. We found something important about this thing. Adolf hands the duo a book called Epiphanies of the Dark Ages with a certain page opened. On the page in the book, there are creatures that look like a thing, and on the side it reads, Djinn legend has it that a German city-state started experimenting with liquefying negative energy. At first there was no problem. But after 10 to 20 years, people who had suffered extreme trauma and the like began to develop a species called Djinn, whose appearance changed but was all black, with black spots caused by this negative emotion. These beings would constantly follow their victims. Normally only the victims could see them. But if the victim experiences enough negative emotions, other people can see them. According to legend, these beings were never seen again after the work on negative energy was stopped. Everyone is silent. Mehmet. So we will be dealing with monsters this time. Gary, thinking, do you think they can be beaten? Adolf, well, why not? It's not written that they can't. You're planning to beat them, aren't you? Gary, if it will save the patient, why not? Suddenly they hear a noise downstairs. Adolf. We need to fire the security guard. Gary, honestly, he's not much help. They come to Basil's room. The glass had somehow melted. Inside the room, Aubrey was looking at Basil with inhuman hatred and anger. There was an upright shadow around Aubrey and many eyes on the shadow. At the same time, Aubrey had black spots on him and his shadow looked like another being. Aubrey raised his bat to attack. At that moment Gary jumps into the room to save Basil. The inside of the room was somehow bigger than the outside. Suddenly Aubrey notices Gary. The room and its contents begin to tremble as Aubrey looks on with hateful eyes. Adolf, Gary. Step back. Something might happen to you. Gary. Not until we save the patient. Gary was very determined not to lose a patient again this time. He posed like the boxers in the boxing matches he used to watch when he was little. Suddenly Aubrey started attacking with his bat. Gary quickly dodged each one. He took one stick hit. That stunned him a little bit. Just as Aubrey is about to attack with his bat, Gary throws an uppercut that stuns Aubrey. Aubrey hits the lower wall where the glass used to be and the wall breaks a bit. Aubrey gets up with some difficulty. Aubrey. Gary, why? Gary, because Aubrey, why are you keeping that murderer alive? Basil, Gary, and others outside the room look at each other in amazement. Adolf, why did you call him killer? Aubrey. Don't you people read the news? Gary, well, I haven't looked at it yet. Adolf, I read books. It's more useful. Mehmet, well, I watch it on TV. Mehmet, I will look at a newspaper. And also. He enters the room and knocks Aubrey out with one punch. You can put him here. He turns around. Thinking, why is this town looking at the newspaper when there's a TV? He leaves. Adolf. As if we're not going to deposit him. Gary, whatever. I'll try something. He hits Basil's Djinn and sees that it hurts. Gary. He starts hitting Djinn. 1 hour later, Gary had been hitting Djinn for an hour. Basil had fallen asleep. The head doctor had gone upstairs on business. Adolf had put Aubrey in the sick room and was waiting for Mehmet. Adolf turns to Gary. Adolf, don't you ever get tired? Suddenly Mehmet comes running with a newspaper. Mehmet, look what I found. Gary stops beating Djinn and comes to look at the newspaper. Gary and Adolf look at the newspaper. The newspaper reads, "Faraway newspaper, the real truth revealed 6 hours ago, the cops sent over the surveillance tapes of the Kurashiro case. The other person involved said in his suicide note that it was an accident. The tapes say otherwise. It looks like Sonny Kurashiro had his sister killed for some unknown reason. So it wasn't an accident. And Basil helped him cover it up. In fact, when they saw that she was still alive, they killed her." For more information Gary and Adolf look at Mehmet. Mehmet, I can tell you that this is completely wrong. We didn't release any tapes. Adolf, who did it then? Mehmet, I don't know. Maybe the Russians did it? We will investigate this. The head doctor arrives. Head doctor, what are you talking about? They hand the chief physician the newspaper and he reads it. Head doctor, tell him that there is fake news. Mehmet, really? I wonder what more will come. Suddenly there is a kind of opening sound. What's going on? Suddenly a portal opens. 2 people come out of it. One of them is a young man, about 1.70, looks like a human, but a bit bluer, wearing a black jacket and gray pants, with blue eyes and blonde hair. His voice is a little thin. The other one is 1.90, older, a little blue like the other one, wearing a businessman's jacket and pants, with black eyes and hair. His voice is thick. After the 2 have spoken, he recognizes the quartet. Fater, hello people. I am Fater. Next to me is Berder. I'm busy so I'll talk quickly. We inspect the ghosts and place them on level 2. Ask Berder more. He returns to the portal. And you'd better show him where Sonny Kurashiro is staying. It's his first day. So he might find it a bit difficult. He enters the portal and it closes. Berder, hello. I'm here to pick up the Kurashiro brothers. As you may have guessed, the 2 of them are in this town as ghosts. Could you show me the Sonny's room? She's probably there as a ghost. They take the elevator to the floor where Sonny's room was before she died. Berder, has anyone been in that room? Adolf, after that incident, we banned access to the penthouse for a while. Berder, okay. Mehmet, to Gary, that was all that was left anyway. Berder, Abi, I hear you here. Mehmet, I'm sorry. There's a lot going on these days. That's why I said that. Berder, anyway. It looks like there's a lot more to come. You can ask me questions if you want. Adolf, why don't we use a portal to get upstairs? Berder, I'm a beginner. I have physical strength but not the ability to open portals. Mehmet, how do these ghosts form? Berder, well, it depends on what religion you believe in. As a Muslim, I believe that Allah keeps them alive as ghosts to test them further. Chief physician, what exactly is this floor 2? Berder, well, there are places in the universe called floors. For example, this is floor 0. Floor 2 is where non-evil ghosts can stay. We can compare it to paradise in the Divine Comedy. Gary, so. Have you ever met any celebrities there? Berder, I met Albert Einstein. Does that count? The elevator arrives at the penthouse. From there they come to Sonny's room. Sonny's ghost was lying there. Berder tries to wake Sonny up but can't. Adolf, let me take a look if you want. Berder, He takes out gloves from his pocket. Use these. If you wear these you can touch the ghosts. Adolf puts on the gloves and examines Sonny. Adolf. He looks like he's in a coma, but he's not. Mehmet, what the hell is that like? Adolf, well, I couldn't quite figure it out either. He examines it a little more. I think it's high sleep state. Mehmet, what the fuck is that? Adolf, we just discovered it. For some reason, a person can put themselves into a lifelong sleep. We don't know how it happens with us, but it does. There is no cure yet. I just thought of something. I think I read something about being able to enter a person's mind in certain ways. If we can get into their mind, Gary, we can wake him up. Gary had an idea. If he could wake Sonny up, he could not only make up for his failure that day, but maybe he could bring them together with their relatives who were sick and cure them. He tells the others about the relatives. The head doctor was thinking a little more seriously. Adolf, that sounds like a good idea. Gary, yes. Head doctor, well, I have a job. So I can't deal with this mind business. Mehmet was answering the phone at the time. Mehmet, well, they arrested the head of that newspaper for giving false news. I will go to investigate him. But I have a question, is there anyone among us who knows about mind penetration? Adolf, I've read that too. Turning to Berdetter, I'll teach you if you want. Just in case Mari is in that situation. Berdetter, yes. Adolf, let's make a plan. Everyone gathers. Mehmet, you come to the entrance after the investigation. Head doctor, if you want, you can come to the entrance after your work. Berdetter, after I teach you the technique, you deal with Mari and come to the entrance with her. Me and Gary take care of Sonny. In short, let's all come to the entrance after our work. Everybody, okay. Mehmet sees the hooligans and Recce cultists on his way out. The hooligans and Recce cultists have mixed curiosity and anger and they are wearing different djinns. Mehmet, well, I can't deal with you. If you are here for Basil, that news was fake and I am going to investigate the director of that newspaper. Hooligans and Recce cultists calm down a bit. Aubrey's a bit too, out of her mind. So they admitted her to the mental health floor of the hospital. The hooligans enter the hospital, curious. Downstairs, by the way. He turns to the Recce cultists. There's something in Sonny's room that might interest you, by the way. You can go there. Recce cultists go there in curiosity. Mehmet goes to the center for investigation. After the Recce cultists arrive and see Sonny's ghost, Adolf explains everything. Adolf, now that I think about it, you guys can protect me and Gary from any attack. Do you want to protect us? Recce cultists talk among themselves. Recycultist 1, why not? Adolf, all right then. Berdetter, I'll run away then. Berdetter leaves? Adolf, let's do this. The two enter a circle with some kind of stars and shapes, Sonny's ghost in the center and candles around it. They sit down next to Sonny's ghost. Gary puts his hand on Adolf's shoulder. Adolf puts his hand on Sonny's ghost's shoulder. Then Adolf mumbles something and they fall asleep. Adolf and Gary wake up to find themselves on a road through a forest. They had just woken up when suddenly a man appeared in front of them. He is about 2 meters tall, wearing black pants and a white jacket, black, with black eyes and hair. His voice is normal. Zerdog, hello, I am Zerdog. I'm from the Ministry of Mind Void. It seems that you tried to enter the mind bubble of a young man named Sonny Kurashiro. Unfortunately, his mind is a bit dangerous. That's why we brought you to his imagination world. Do you have any questions? Adolf. We have a lot of questions. Zerdog, ask then. Gary, how bad can his mind be? Zerdog creates a white door. When he opens the door, inside, in the middle of the darkness, there are eyes and mouths that look like Djinns with Sunny. Zerdog, it can be that bad. Sunny recognizes them. Sunny, who are you guys? Gary, I am your nurse. Next to me is my doctor friend from the hospital. We're here to get you out of here. Sunny, no. I'm not someone who deserves to get out of here. Gary, because of that incident with your sister? Sunny, yes. Adolf, but wasn't that an accident? Sunny, whether it was an accident or not, I killed someone, I'm a murderer. Adolf, don't exaggerate. Let's talk about this in a normal way. Sunny, no. While Adolf and Sunny were arguing, Gary had the idea to go in there and get him out. Because he had to do something. He burst through the door to save the patient. Without touching the Djinns, he came to Sunny and grabbed her arm. He led her to the door, but Sunny teleported back to where she was. Sunny closes the door before Gary returns. Adolf, great, she doesn't want to wake up. Gary, we could bring Mari. Maybe she can convince her. Adolf, that makes sense. Turns to Zerdog, but first let me ask you something, mind space, what exactly is this place and the ministry? Because I'm very curious. Zerdog, all right. Let me summarize the whole thing for you. You people's dreams are actually real in a way. I mean, not as real as you are, but still real. These dreams are in your mind with things like memories. And every human mind exists in a place called the mind space. Here and there you are a being with power that people cannot define, that can make everything possible and impossible come true. But you need to be experienced to use this power outside your own mind. We, as a ministry, oversee this place. This is where people who want to escape from trauma or something like that find themselves. A door suddenly appears. This is the mind bubble of a young man named Mari Kurashiro. They enter through the door. Kel came to his and his brother's room. He hadn't heard from his brother for a while, so he came to check on him. When he opens the door, he sees that the window is open and there is a note on the coffee table next to the window. He takes the note and reads it. The note said that Hiro was going to kill himself because of what had happened. At that moment Kel becomes very agitated. He immediately leaves the house and starts looking for Hiro. At that time, Berdar comes to Kurashiro's house, but finds a lot of Russians there. He tries to enter the house and finds two men, 1.70, wearing Adidas, Russian 1, where are you going? Berdar, I have a job. Russian 2, you can't enter. Berdar enters anyway. One of the Russians stabs him, but Berdar is unharmed. Berdar knocks them both unconscious. Berdar opens the door to the room under the stairs in the house. Mari's ghost is there. The ghost had entered a state of high sleep, like Sunny. He does the circle he was taught for her, in which he puts his hand on Mari's shoulder and says something and then falls asleep. Berdar finds himself in a slightly warped version of Faraway Town, on the edge of a cliff. He is surprised to find Adolf, Gary, and Zerdog with him. Berdar, to Adolf and Gary, weren't you going to take care of Sunny? Zerdog, sir, I will tell you everything. Zerdog tells Berdar everything. Berdar, then it's all up to us to convince Mari. Gary, yes. Berdar, then let's find her. And they start wandering around this crooked town to find Mari. Mehmet was in the investigation room with the newspaper manager, the manager. He was 1.67 meters tall, overweight, with a fat face, black hair, and glasses. He looked agitated and his voice was a bit thin. Manager, I swear it happened unknowingly. Mehmet, how can you make false news about us without knowing? Manager, well, we made such a mistake. Then Mehmet uses the death stare tactic and looks coldly and sternly into the principal's eyes. Mehmet, seriously, look. Cameras are being searched during this conversation. If we find this on the cameras and we find out that you did it unknowingly, your punishment will only be a fine and a period of inactivity. But if we find out that you took a bribe for lying to the government, the director becomes more agitated. Mehmet looks harder. You will face very big consequences. He looks at his watch. He looks at it again with cold eyes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes until the cameras arrive. Just as Mehmet is about to speak, the director speaks. Manager, scared, okay, I took a bribe. Mehmet, look how well you are starting to spill. Who bribed you? Müdür, well. Mehmet looks serious again. Manager, well, the head doctor of the hospital. Mehmet didn't look serious at first. After all, even Sunny's parents could give bribes. He had one thing to figure out: why did he give it? Mehmet, do you know why he gave it? Manager, no. Mehmet looks at him with cold eyes again. Warden, I swear I don't know. According to the manager, he was telling the truth. Then something struck Mehmet's mind. According to his investigation into Sunny's death, the only usable room in the penthouse was Sunny's room, and the balcony there was missing a fence. And he had made such a fake news report. She wondered if he was planning something over Sunny. He left the room. He tells the other officers that he has something to do and leaves. The dream quartet arrives at Mari's dream house. The house is just like in the real world. Zerdog, are you sure you are here? Berder, I think so. If not, we can ask someone else. When they enter the house, the version of Mari and Sunny from this dream is on the stairs. Sunny pushes Mari. Mari seems to be enjoying herself as she falls. After Sunny pushes Mari, Gary saves her just as she is about to get stuck in the violin handle. The contentment on Mari's face is gone, replaced by discontent. Mari, I don't remember imagining you guys. Gary, we are real people like you. But it's a long story, so we'll tell you later. The four suddenly find themselves outside the door. They re-enter the house and Gary saves Mari from falling again. This goes on for a while. Finally Gary asks out of curiosity. Gary, why are you doing that? Mari, because I deserve it. Adolf, what did you do to deserve this? Mari, shall I show you then? Suddenly everything shakes and turns white. At that time, Mehmet was walking because it wasn't very far. As he walks, he bumps into Sophia. Sophia is a Georgian woman, 1.80 meters tall, wearing a red socialist jacket and black pants, with long black hair, black eyes, white skin, and a normal voice. She was part of the revolutionaries team. Sophia, watch out. Mehmet, I'm sorry, Sophia. Sophia. Aren't you going to do something? Mehmet, well, I have work, I can't take care of it right now. Suddenly they feel a strange sensation in the forest, as if there is a djinn there. Sophia, do you feel something strange too? Mehmet, yes. Mehmet goes there quickly, both out of curiosity and because someone who has the djinn might need help. Sophia comes with him out of curiosity. They go a bit in the forest. After some time in the forest, they find Hero hanging himself from a branch. There was a being with him. Strangely, this being did not look like the djinn. It was something derived from Hero's shadow, something that looked like a thin man whose whole body was black except for his eyes, which were white. Sophia, looking at it a bit strangely, notices Mehmet's confusion and thinks that he might know something. Hero notices the duo. Hero, a little flustered, ah. Hello officer. Mehmet shoots the rope with the pistol and the rope breaks in two from the bullet. He immediately embraces Hero and leads him towards the car. Sophia is still standing there and the entity starts to follow them. Mehmet sees the being following him as he takes Hero away. When he gets to the car, he first puts Hiro in the car. Then he takes out his pistol and starts shooting, but since the entity is a kind of shadow, it doesn't do anything to him. Then he thinks he can take care of it in the hospital and starts driving there. Hiro, me Mehmet, please don't say you're okay, I saw you trying to hang yourself. Hiro then remains silent. The car moves. Mehmet hears some noises from behind as they drive away, but in his haste he pays little attention. They accidentally hit someone while driving. This person is Keldi. Mehmet comes to check on him. Mehmet, are you okay? Kel, I think so. Mehmet, I'll take you to the hospital too. Then he puts him in the car too. Kel and Hiro lock eyes in the car. They look at each other with surprise in the car. Then the car moves. Again at that time, in the dream the four are in the same house with Mari. But this time Sunny and Mari are at the top of the stairs. Adolf, it's a memory of the night of the incident, isn't it? Mari, yes. Perhaps after seeing this you will understand why I did this to myself. They then look at the two in the memory. They are arguing about the recital. Sunny, why did you pick me up, sister? You said you wouldn't make me work before the recital. Mari, well. The recital has been postponed. Sunny, when? Mari, 3 months from now. Sunny, 3 months. Mari, putting her hand to Sunny's mouth, shh. Mommy and Daddy are asleep. Sunny, with her mouth still closed, I'm sorry. Mari takes her hand away from Sunny's mouth, she then gives him the violin. Mari, come on, get ready. We'll go to the recital hall. Sunny, but sis. Mari, yes. Sunny, we already play well. Why are we still practicing? Mari, leaning into his face and seriously, because it's still not perfect. Sunny, but can't we do it every few days? Mari, no. If we're going to have a perfect recital, we have to practice every day. Sunny, at least not at night. I feel like sleeping all the time now. Mari, there are less people at night. Less people means less noise. And we do better with less noise. Sunny, but Mari, don't prolong it. After 3 months you can sleep as much as you want. Sunny, at least let me play something else besides the violin. Mari slaps Sunny's face. Mari, I told you to be quiet. At that moment Sunny becomes very angry and her face becomes angry. Sunny, that's enough. Suddenly he punches Mari. While Mari is stunned, Sunny breaks the violin in anger and throws it down the stairs. Mari wakes up and sees the broken violin. At that moment, she gets very angry when she realizes that all her training has been wasted. Mari, angry, you. Suddenly Mari gets angry and starts strangling Sunny, then Sunny starts strangling Mari in anger. Then Sunny pulls Mari to the front of the stairs. Then he pulls his hands away and scratches Mari's hands. As Mari pulls her hands away, Sunny pushes her away. Suddenly everything stops. We go back to the main team. Mari, do you know the rest? The team confirms. Then I became a ghost. And for 3 years or so I tried to ruin Sunny's life in anger. Zerdog, your anger lasted a bit too long. Adolf, and then what happened? Mari, last year, after thinking about what I had done, I started to think that I was a really terrible person. So I tried to make Sunny's life better. But tears start to flow from her eyes. I deserve this thing. Gary comes to her and puts his hand on her shoulder to comfort her. Gary, well. You are able to apologize to him. Mari turns her face to him. Mari, really? Gary, yes. Turns to Zerdog. Zerdog, sure, let me open it. He then opens a door into Sunny's mind. This time Sunny is surrounded by things that look like Djinn there. Sunny notices Zerdog. Sunny, what do you want this time? Zerdog, there is someone who wants to apologize to you. Then Mari comes in through the door. Sunny is taken aback at that moment. Sunny turns completely back to Mari. Sunny and Mari look at each other for a while. Then they start walking towards each other. At that moment the things that look like Djinn retreat a little. Eventually Sunny and Mari come face to face. They look at each other for a while. Tears start to flow from both of their eyes. Finally they hug each other. Sunny and Mari, I apologize. The four witness this moment. Zerdog, this is a very good moment. He turns to Adolf and Berder. By the way, I just remembered I have to do something. He presents them both with a signature. Zerdog, next time you have to do the mind-to-mind crossing under the control of the ministry. Adolf, why? Zerdog, so that you don't do anything. They sign. And let me add this, from now on you will have to stand in line for entry. Adolf, for control, right? Zerdog, yes. At that moment there is a shaking. Mehmet, doctor. Adolf, I think something is wrong. He turns to Berder. You'll bring Mari, okay. Berder, yes. Berder and Adolf go to the two, who are still hugging each other. Adolf, you need to wake up. Sunny and Mari look at the duo. They nod their heads in agreement. Gary, Adolf, and Sunny wake up. They wake up to a surprised Hero, a surprised Kel and a normal-looking Mehmet in front of them, and the Reki cultists behind them. Hero, Kel, and Sunny exchange glances. Hero and Kel, Sunny. The two then try to hug Sunny but they pass through. Hero and Kel are surprised for a moment. Mehmet, she's a ghost. Later Hero and Kel say they understand. Adolf turns to Mehmet. Adolf, why did you bring the two of them? Mehmet, I found the big one in the forest when he was about to hang himself. I accidentally hit the smaller one, so I brought him here to check him out. Adolf checks Kel for a moment. Adolf, why didn't you take the big one home? Mehmet, well, I was in such a hurry to tell you something important that I couldn't think of him. Adolf, and what are you going to say? Mehmet. Leaning in the duo's ear, come with me to the bathroom. Adolf turns to Hero. Adolf, wait for us here. They go downstairs to the bathroom. In the bathroom, Mehmet again takes out a pen and paper and starts writing. Writing moment, Mehmet, head doctor bribed the newspaper. Gary, why? Why did he do such a thing? Mehmet, we don't know either. But I have something in my mind. According to his investigation into Sunny's death, the only usable room in the penthouse was Sunny's room and the balcony there was missing a fence. He did it on purpose, that's for sure. Because I don't think a fence would just fall down. And if it had fallen, we could have traced it? Could there be a connection between this thing and the fake news? Adolf, it could be. Adolf thinks for a while. I have something like this in my mind. What if the chief physician is trying to increase the negative feeling? Imagine, when someone jumps from there it is traumatizing, especially for the relatives. And since Sunny was friends with everyone in the 5 days before her death, it affected everyone. Then Basil revealed the truth because he couldn't keep the secret any longer. And that affected everyone even more. Then the head doctor faked the news to stir up hatred and anger, which I think is a bigger negative emotion. Maybe he used the cameras to expose them for something. Gary, that makes sense. The question is what's in it for him? Suddenly someone steals the notes from them. It was Sophia. The writing moment is over. Sophia looks at the notes and the trio looks at her in amazement. Mehmet, how did you find us? Sophia, I followed you when you were driving. Sophia reads them all before they can get up. Mehmet, wow. This chief physician is quite something. Gary, how quickly did you read it? Sophia, I read fast. Anyway. Turns to Mehmet, there it was as if you knew something about this thing. Mehmet, I had seen something similar, but this was different. Adolf, what had you seen? Mehmet, a shadow with white eyes behind that big boy. Adolf thinks. Adolf, I think I read something like that. He suddenly remembers. Mehmet. That's negativun. Sophia, who? Adolf thinks. Adolf, I can tell you on condition that you help us and that you don't tell anyone. Sophia, if this help thing means taking down the money grubber who runs this place, I'm in. Mehmet, the head doctor doesn't strike me as a money grubber. Gary, you must not have been treated here as a civilian. Mehmet, well, I've never needed the free rabies vaccine. Sophia, that's the only good thing this head doctor does. Mehmet, is it really as expensive as they say? Gary, well, I have paid something like $300 for a leg cast. Mehmet, that's pretty expensive. Adolf turns to Sophia. Adolf, are you going to join? Sophia, yes. Can you tell me about that thing now? Adolf, yes. This thing is a being that I've read is thought to have existed since Mesopotamia. Gary, that's pretty old. Adolf, yes. This thing feeds on people's negative emotions and gets stronger. Gary, and nobody took any precautions. Adolf, well, I read that in the Middle Ages they tried to take precautions but it didn't work because of the inevitability of negative emotion and the fact that it has a shadow body. And I think for some reason, beings like this one that appeared mostly in the Middle Ages did not appear much after the conquest of Constantinople. Mehmet, wow. Sophia, you must be very proud. Mehmet, my ancestors stopped them. How did they stop them? Adolf, I don't know about that. Everyone is silent for a while. Sophia, let's start looking for him then. Adolf, I think so. Then they go outside. Adolf starts calling the chief physician on the phone. The four were walking around the hallway and looking in the restrooms because they thought it made sense since there were no cameras there. Adolf is still making calls on the phone. He finally turns off his phone and puts it in his pocket. Adolf, he's not picking up. Mehmet, there's definitely something in this thing. Sophia kicked open a toilet door again. There was no one in the restroom again. Sophia, how many times has this happened? Gary, I think it's been 100. Sophia, angry, where is this guy? Then they hear some kind of scuffle downstairs. Recce cultists were fighting with someone. Sophia, there's a fight going on downstairs. Adolf, he knows. Suddenly Sophia puts her finger in Adolf's mouth. Sophia, shh. Listen for a moment. There were more sounds from the Recce cultists downstairs. But these were more sounds of pain. Sophia, we have to help them. Sophia starts to go down from the front. The others follow behind her. The quartet goes downstairs, Sophia in front. They come into the corridor. In the corridor about 50 Recce cultists are lying on the floor, beaten with sticks and covered in blood. In the middle of the corridor stood a 6 feet 6 inches, slightly overweight, black-eyed man wearing black gloves and a blood-soaked bat in his hand, wearing black pants, a gray t-shirt and a black vest, and a mask covering his entire body except for his eyes and nostrils. The masked man notices them and turns towards them. The four and the masked man look at each other for a while. The masked man starts coming towards them. Mehmet takes a gun out of his pocket and points it at the masked man's left leg. Mehmet, stop there or I will shoot. The masked man is still coming. Mehmet, this is my last warning. The masked man is still coming. Mehmet, you wanted this. Mehmet shoots at Maskeli's left leg. But Maskeli reacts to the bullet and lifts his left leg upwards before the bullet arrives. Sophia, leave this to me. Sophia goes towards the man. The man attacks Sophia with a stick. Sophia runs away from him. Sophia then punches him in the face, but he dodges. The man tries to trip her, but Sophia escapes by jumping. Sophia jumps on the man. The man leans forward hard and hits Sophia's head on the floor so hard that the tiles on the floor break. Sophia stands up while rubbing her head. At that moment Hero, Kel, and Berder come downstairs. Everyone looks at the duo. Berder, what's going on? Gary, when did you come out? Berder, I took the elevator up. Adolf, we must not have heard. Later, when he is about to take out his stick to attack Sophia from behind, he realizes that he doesn't have his stick with him. While looking for his stick, he gets hit from behind and faints. It was Mari's ghost who hit him with the stick. Gary, hello Mari. Mari, hi. They come to the man's head. They take off the mask. His face was a little chubby, with a black mustache and bald. Adolf, security. Mehmet, well, we definitely need to find out why he did it. Security was seated in a chair and tied up. He was surrounded by the foursome, Berder, Mari, Sunny, Kel and Hero. Mehmet, who sent you? Security, I won't say. Adolf, the head doctor, right? Security stops talking for a while. That must mean yes. Security nods. To stop us, right? Security nods. Where is he? Security, if Mehmet, don't worry, we will protect you. Security, okay. On the 50th floor, in the restroom next to the elevator. Mehmet, okay. Berder, Mari, Sunny, Kel and Hero are confused. Berder, is this head doctor planning something? Mehmet, we'll tell you. They leave together. Security, what about me? Mehmet, just in case, stay there. They had come to the restroom that the guard had told them about. In the elevator, of course, they didn't forget to tell the other five what they knew. They break down the door. Inside, the chief physician and the others were wearing a snake-like cult outfit. Head doctor and those with him recognize them. They turn to them. Head doctor, you understand, don't you? Adolf, yes. Except why you did it? Head doctor, well. What sect do we look like? They look carefully. Mehmet, are you the Falak sect? Hero, isn't that the sect that tries to awaken this thing they call Falak? Head doctor, yes. Hero, so you did what you did to awaken this thing, didn't you? Head doctor, yes. Sunny. Hero. Head doctor, because as you can see the world is becoming a worse place. Wars, atrocities, domestic violence, exploitation. Sophia, aren't you also exploiting us with hospital expenses? Head doctor, do you know how much this hospital costs? Mehmet, he is right, actually. Everyone, except Berder because he doesn't know, looks at Mehmet with a serious face. Head doctor, anyway, let me continue my speech. And I think that this world is not going to get better. Adolf, so you are going to destroy the world? Head doctor, yes. Gary, that's what I think. Head doctor, I arrived at it entirely by my own thinking. Gary, okay. So how does what you're doing help with that? Head doctor, do you remember the black spots on Aubrey? That's the physical manifestation of her negative emotions. Emotions can affect everything. The human mind, physical strength, the laws of physics, biological things, and reality. Enough negative emotions can distort reality. And when Falak is disturbed by enough distortion of reality, he will wake up and come out of his prison and destroy this miserable existence. Faraway Town is just the beginning. Directing all the hate to one place after depressing the whole town is just the beginning. Mehmet, only we can't do that. You will bribe us, won't you? Head doctor confirms. I have to block this thing. Just as he is about to leave, he is blocked by other people. Head doctor, you are not going anywhere. I keep talking. After spreading negative emotion here, we will move to other places. We will spread negative emotion there too. And when the whole earth is submerged in negative emotion, we will wake it up. Gary, isn't the earth a little too small to awaken a monster that can destroy the entire universe? Head doctor, according to my research, this planet is where reality connects. So this is enough. Adolf. You're telling us this because you're going to kill us, aren't you? Head doctor, yes. People behind and in front start to come to the octet. Berdetter, I'll take care of it. He punches the duo in the back and knocks them out by slamming them into the wall behind them and breaking the wall. He then punches head doctor and knocks him unconscious along with the other cultists, sending the chief physician into the wall, breaking the wall and sending them into the corridor. Head doctor immediately gets up. Berdetter comes towards him. They look at each other. Then they approach each other in a JoJo walk. Berdetter trips, but the head doctor jumps. Berdetter jumps and headbutts the head doctor, sending him downstairs. Berdetter is about to attack the head doctor on the ground, but the head doctor runs away at the moment of the attack. Head doctor takes out a hypodermic needle and inserts it into Berdetter. Berdetter gets a little sleepy but is still able to fight. Head doctor pulls out another needle and Berdetter punches him again, sending him 3 meters away. Head doctor gets up and runs towards Berdetter. He gets to Berdetter in 3 seconds and just as he is about to give him the needle, Berdetter instantly slips to the side and head doctor hits the door. Berdetter throws a punch but head doctor runs away. The door collapses during the punch. At that moment head doctor injects Berdetter with the needle again. Berdetter becomes more numb. Berdetter almost faints. Finally he decides to use all his strength. He hits head doctor with all his fists and sends head doctor to the 25th floor. Head doctor fainted. But then Berdetter fainted too. At that moment, the team, who stayed away to avoid getting hurt, came to Berdetter. Mehmet goes to prevent the bribe. In the distance, Negativen was watching them. Negativen was happy because it was something that suited his purpose of absorbing negative emotions. He goes away satisfied. 1 week later, Berdetter arrives at the animatronic pizzeria Bonnie's Pizzeria after being treated on his floor to talk to Mehmet, Gary, and Adolf again. He sees the trio near the entrance. He sits down next to them. Berdetter, so. What happened while I was in the hospital? Mehmet, well, we put head doctor, sect members there, the priest who made a deal with him and the newspaper manager in jail and I prevented this bribery. We closed that newspaper and a new newspaper will be opened. A new pastor will be found for the church. And the hospital is looking for a new head doctor. Berdetter, it could be Adolf. Adolf, we are candidates, but we will wait. Berdetter. What about Sonny and Marie? I heard that they came back here after their business was taken care of. Gary, well, from what Hero said, they talked to Aubrey, Basil, and their own mother and sorted things out. And I think they are planning to stay here for a while. They were playing a game on the field with Kel at the moment. Maybe they are still there. Berdetter, and what happened to Sophia? Adolf takes a piece of paper out of his pocket, writes something on it and hands it to Berdetter. The paper says I think he and the revolutionaries are planning something big. But since it might mean a better state, we don't interfere too much. Berdetter puts the paper in his pocket. Berdetter, and what are you going to do? Adolf, our normal work, of course. Other than that I think we'll hang out together. Berdetter, that's cool. They talk there.